The Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live Sunday, May 7th. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Got JD with me tonight.
Hello.
We've got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
Nick Crane is here.
Can't wait for people to get pissed about my draft picks tonight.
And we've got Tayler Peterson.
Shea and Dub finally get their All-NBA and All-Rookie honors this week, which is exciting.
That is exciting. When does that happen? Do we know days?
So All-Rookie is 1 p.m. Our time tomorrow, and then All-NBA is 6 p.m. our time on Wednesday. And then
Tuesday we get to see how many votes Lou got for all defense.
That's true.
Indeed.
True. Hey, don't forget about the big reveal on Thursday. Teammate of the year.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, they definitely included that.
I thought it was like community assist, not player or teammate of the year.
I think there's both.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Interesting.
We're brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We're also part of dailythunder.com. Gentlemen, we are a week and 2 days away from the NBA draft lottery. Pretty excited. It's I don't know, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but last year I think all Thunder fans watched the NBA draft lottery. Buttholes clenched so tight they were like waterproof.
Oh.
This year there's like not as much stress because the chances of jumping are very slim, and it's not like they have to land in the top 4 to like put the franchise on the correct trajectory, right? I mean, honestly, when you think about it, this past year, it didn't matter that they jumped because they didn't even have the player that they jumped and got, right?
Yep.
And everything else just kind of fell into place. So I don't feel like there's as much stress for the Thunder this year. But man, last year it was like, ooh, any of those top 3 guys could go number 1. It could go any direction. The level at which somebody is going to have their franchise completely altered in 9 days from now is pretty staggering. I've heard draft analysis say things like, if they had the option to draft anybody like in NBA history, that Wemby would be number 1 or number 2.
Oh my!
Which is insane.
Stupid.
That's insane.
That's like stupid as in like that's a bad take.
Correct.
Yeah, like that's not good.
You're telling me you'd rather take a gamble on Wemby versus LeBron's dominance for the past 20 years? Get out of town. Stop
That's
it.
the correct answer.
Stop it.
But to Jacob's point, I can't imagine being in that position where you have a legit shot at the lottery. You really need Wemby.
Yeah.
Like being a Spurs fan or something like that right now. I can't imagine that feeling because to your point, Jacob, we were there last year, but in different circumstances. There wasn't a Wemby on the table when the Thunder were in that position. It just amplifies it so much.
Crazy.
It's going to be insanity for whoever lands that number 1 spot.
And it's going to be devastating for some franchises who don't land in that spot.
Which is going to be delicious. I'm here for that.
There's a few franchises that I hope
yes
are that.
There's going to be some certain franchises I'll be rooting that distinct pleasure upon.
Yes. It's going to be a wild night. Like, I'm excited for it. If the Thunder jump, if we get to 12 and they don't say Oklahoma City, I mean, I don't think we're gonna live stream like while the lottery is happening. We're probably gonna podcast afterwards. But wherever I am at, home, restaurant, wherever, if they don't say Thunder at 12 or 13 or 14, shirt's coming off.
I will be in the room. So if that happens,
Shirt's coming off.
No. I would be kicked out of the room very
Sir,
quickly.
we need you to leave. Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be awesome. Justin, you mentioned San Antonio, like removing Oklahoma City from the equation. Any of the 14, I guess if we're moving Oklahoma City, 13, technically,
12 Magic. I guess it could be Bulls technically if the pick falls.
yeah, technically could jump and get number one. Who do you want it to be if it's not the Thunder? Like, who is the team you want it for the most? And don't give me, like, I know Nick's going to say, oh, send them to Charlotte because they're in the Eastern Conference and don't play the Thunder. Like, Thunder bias aside, just who do you hope lands Victor? I don't want Charlotte to do it because Charlotte.
Who do you hope? That quite literally is asking a biased opinion.
I'm with Nick on this one.
Remove the Thunder from.
Who do you want or who needs him most? 'Cause that's two different things.
It's fun. Like San Antonio as a organization, Oklahoma City has a lot of overlap with them.
Tim Duncan 2.0, baby.
Yeah, like that's fun. They develop him well, probably. But I don't want him in the West.
That's so interesting.
I can't leave that out of the equation.
I haven't thought about that angle, but you're kind of right.
Yeah,
About, like, you don't. If he's really as good as everyone says, like, you don't really want him around.
I want that boy in Charlotte or Indiana,
Yeah,
or Chicago.
Detroit.
Jacob
Detroit.
tried squashing my reasoning, and then everyone
It's
agrees with my
it's
reasoning. So you've
very
been squashed,
valid.
Jacob.
Well,
You-
treating him like he's Darth
You got to
Vader.
remove your
Yeah.
Thunder bias from it.
No,
Yeah.
San Antonio is it for me.
Yeah, me too. It's a lot of fun.
see the only reason I can't like full throated support San Antonio is jealousy. Come on, Nick. Good Lord. That's a phrase. That's a thing that people say.
I've literally never heard that.
I didn't just make that up. Anyway, your face, I can't recover from your facial expression. The reason I can't get on board with San Antonio is because of jealousy. That's it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
To your point about removing Thunder bias, I cannot do that, Jacob. I'd be so envious if the Spurs landed Wemby.
I think that's
That's
fair.
all.
Okay. Since Nick refuses to play by my logic.
No, I'll play.
No, we're flipping the tables on you, Nick. Who is the team in the 13 lottery teams that you do not want Wemby to go to?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you should ask
it's
me
easy,
who the
but
second team is.
I have a
Dallas
list.
is number one. Although it would be really cool because if he went to Dallas, I would like get to follow him very, very closely.
Yeah.
But I secretly would hate every second of it.
Yes.
Same. Houston's up there. Obviously, I think we'd all agree Houston's
Correct.
up there. That's more like Twitter drama than anything. That fan base is just something else. But like super petty stuff aside, like I feel like this could be like a bias. I feel like of all the teams that are kind of ascending at the same time as OKC, like Orlando's probably the closest thing to like functional and improved the season went on, has the talent to be really, really good, sustained success like the Thunder want to have. That would be like right now, I would say Oklahoma City's like in a better position than Orlando. If they land Wemby and then they also get this second lottery pick, all of a sudden I'm like, man, Thunder may not be the fun young team that gets all the attention this year.
Correct. I think Orlando, I'd put Detroit in that same bucket. If Detroit somehow got Wemby,
Because then it's like Cade's coming back and you got Wemby.
They're ready to go.
Yeah.
correct.
They're pretty
Detroit?
ready to go. Yeah.
Detroit made moves last summer to like win. They got Bogdanovich.
Probably not the best idea for
They
them.
traded for Noel. I mean, like Alec Burks was really, really good for them. Like they have the team to like take that step.
I'll wait and see on Detroit.
I agree with that list completely, Nick. The only team I'd add to it is Utah.
I hate Utah. I don't
God.
want him to go to Utah.
No.
They don't need another French center.
Just that's the storyline that would just like if it happened.
It would
on draft
work,
night, I wouldn't
especially
be
with Danny
shocked.
Ainge there. It would work.
Yeah.
The problem is that we just named half the lottery.
We
Yeah.
did.
Don't really want
There's
There's
anybody
not
to go.
many scenarios
It's gonna
here
be tough.
on
Which
lottery
team?
night that
Which
I'm
team would
excited about.
mismanage him the most?
Charlotte.
Houston.
Charlotte and Houston are both the
Houston at
correct
least
answer.
has like free agency money, to throw around, and they can maybe make something work. Charlotte
Okay.
is just
And if
ruins
Houston
everybody.
has a dope,
Houston's going to try to pay him in free steaks from Saltgrass.
So, but
They'll have
to,
Harden there.
to counter that, we've seen Houston have success with legit talent. Here's a team that has had legit talent, and I don't think they've had a 50-win season in the past at least decade. Is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
man.
fair.
Forgot
Good
about
one.
that.
that's
Like
a great
Brad
one.
Beal, John Wall, they've had all stars.
Yeah.
They've had a bunch of different looking rosters. Even at their pinnacle, I don't think they won 50 games.
Man, this I'm
think
getting
like 47
sadder
is
and
the highest
sadder about these outcomes.
And then like
There's legitimately like 3 or 4 teams that I'd be like, yeah, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Wizards are destined to be picks between 9 and 12 for the rest of eternity.
then they'll pick another Johnny Davis.
Oh,
They're
man.
kind of like the Blazers of the West. Like if they were to land Wemby, do they try and balance the 2 timeline thing? It's like, well, we finally got a guy that can help out our homegrown superstar, or do they do arguably the right thing and trade that said homegrown superstar and start a new timeline?
Yeah,
Especially Portland, like Shaden Sharp and Wemby.
be
So
fun.
fun.
Even Shaden and Scoot. I think
True.
was it Jacob that said it earlier, or somebody said it. I think the only scenario where I sit there and I think, man, that's freaking awesome. I can't wait is Indiana. With like, 'cause everyone loves Hallie. Like it's
True.
just like it's the team
Yeah.
that no one can hate right now. They haven't done anything to be hated
It's true.
That's fair.
It's true.
yet.
Yet.
Fair.
While you were talking, Nick, just for funsies, I simmed a lottery because I'm staring at Tankathon and I can't help it.
Mhm.
And I would just like to say I hit my first like dream scenario. San Antonio 1, Oklahoma City 2.
Beautiful.
Sold.
Wow.
Done.
Would the Thunder just take Scoot, no questions asked?
I think so.
I kind of think so too.
yeah.
I think Miller would
And I'd be
be
ecstatic
be
about
thought
it.
about.
Yeah. I don't think
Would
I
they trade
realized-
down?
I don't think so.
I
I would
don't
hate
think so
that,
either.
I
but-
don't think so.
I don't think I realized how much Paulo was actually considered by OKC through the pre-draft process. So maybe you're right, Nick. Like wouldn't be as much of a consensus.
Did you say you think Paulo was considered a lot?
Hmm. I do.
Oh, I mean, I think they did their due diligence. I think Chet was the pick in like December, though.
Yeah. I think
I
there.
mean,
were
I think
people
they
within the
did
front
everything
office
the
who
right
really
way,
Wanted Paulo.
put on a facade, but I think deep down, Presti was like, Chet's my
Yeah,
guy.
Chet's
Yeah, I think
that was
the
Presti's guy.
Thunder talent evaluation team, like whenever the Thunder were not winning a bunch of games and they were like looking forward to like the vision of the team, I think in their heads they were like envisioning Chet Holmgren being the guy, especially considering I think there's been multiple indicators that if Thunder would have landed the first pick, they would have taken Chet. Like I think that was the guy that they pictured when they were thinking about the future of the team a year from now.
Agreed. I go back to, I think it was the night before the draft, 2 nights before last year's draft, where Woj was on. I think they were doing a draft show. Maybe it was Sports Center. I can't remember. But that was when they were still thinking that Jabari Smith Jr. was going 1. And they just said Oklahoma City has been focused on Chet this entire time.
Yeah.
And when they were still thinking Jabari was going 1, Paulo would have still been there. Speaking of, did you guys listen to Woj with Paulo Banchero?
Yep.
No.
When
They dropped the
His
pod
Woj
earlier
pod.
this week.
not yet.
Pretty interesting. Woj said that he didn't even know until 30 minutes before the draft started
Man.
that Orlando
Right before he was going.
Orlando was going Jabari.
Well,
And-
if he did, he would have tweeted it.
Right.
Well,
That's what he
and
said.
Paulo confirmed that
Literally.
he never went for a workout. Some people thought like they got him in for a secret workout. He said he never went to Orlando.
Wasn't there? I could be making this up. Didn't Chet not disclose medicals or went to a workout and just like
And he
didn't
left early.
really?
Orlando
give it his
has
all,
has
or-
media avail with all their draft workout guys, and whenever Chet came, he left due to a sickness.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it turned out he wasn't sick. He just bailed and left town that morning before media availability. He jumped shipped on him.
There's some people who think he actually tanked his workout too, but I'm not.
Makes
not
you
completely
think
sure on
like if Chet had given medicals and done his best and like really gunned for it, like
Could he have gone one?
Orlando might take
could he
him.
have gone one?
It's interesting.
We're about to redraft, or we're gonna find out if he should have gone one.
Let's do it. So tonight we are doing a 2022 redraft. Had to make sure I had my year right there. So we are operating under the assumption that the lottery is still the same, including the New York Knicks trading their pick 11 to OKC. So OKC has 3 lottery picks in this redraft. We know we have a year sample size of all these guys, and we're going to see how much different our redraft goes from what happened last June. So if you're watching the stream, you can see that we're all kind of lined up here, and this is our draft order. So JD,
Yeah.
you are on the clock.
Oh,
Pick number 1. You are drafting for the Orlando Magic.
I was thinking Jacob was going first too.
me too. Well, hey,
Well, since there's 5 of us, if I also draft, that means that we all get 2 picks, and then 3 picks, and someone gets left out.
Does that mean you're Adam Silver?
Yes, I am Adam Silver.
okay.
Bring on the booze, and
Can,
and
can
let's
we
get
can
started.
we private message you our pick and then you announce it and then we tell you why?
If you want to, I guess.
Let's
So
do it.
excessive.
He can
Silva,
make it.
whenever you have your pick, everyone gets like 20 seconds. Send it in the private chat. Jacob will announce it, and then you'll tell us why you
So
picked that
much
person.
pressure.
Wait,
Do I
like,
need to play the
Yes.
the draft
sounder.
sounder?
Of course you do.
I think I have it here. Hold on.
It's a
this is
tradition.
what-
Amateur hour. Act like act
Oh,
like we
I
didn't do
first
I
redraft.
actually I have it.
This ain't
queued
our
up and
first
ready to go.
redraft,
I
dog.
was gonna say, act like we didn't do 17 redrafts during the COVID shutdown.
What a time. Guys.
So in the chat.
do I need to
Pick
be
is in.
DMing Jacob? Like,
Which one of us is gonna be?
Yeah, you guys
Woj?
should DM me like personally.
Okay.
Oh my
That would make it even
gosh.
better.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
So excessive.
I'll do it on us. Or I can just text you.
With the first pick in the uncontested redraft, the Orlando Magic, GM'd by JD,
hey,
select Paulo Banchero.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
I got the easy one. Paolo is like the perfect guy for Orlando. They needed a number 1 guy there. They needed an alpha. They got it. He was awesome this year. He'll be awesome moving forward. Works great with Franz. Works great with the roster they have in general. Love it. Love Paolo. He is the rookie of the year as much as J-Dub was like awesome. Easy pick for Orlando, I think. Again,
Easy.
Hard to disagree. I mean, I think the things that I like the best about Paulo is he showed that he was so much more than just a scorer. He showed a little more versatility than we saw at Duke, primarily as a playmaker. And when they were able to play through Paulo, even with guys like Franz and Markelle Fultz coming back and playing better for Orlando, they were a better team because of it. So I really liked the well-roundedness we saw from Paulo. And he also improved on the defensive end, which was a little bit of a concern of mine heading into the draft process, which I think was more so just maybe effort at the college level. So I think I'm with you. It's an easy pick.
I've never heard Taylor say I'm with you. Usually he's like contradicting everybody's.
I'm the devil's advocate.
Justin, you're on the clock. As the Oklahoma City Thunder,
whoa,
Thunder GM Justin Peabody,
whoa.
I've got the easy job.
with the second pick in the NBA draft, the uncontested redraft. There we go. The OKC Thunder are selecting Chet Holmgren.
Duh.
Yeah.
Silva, do you have the sounder of Jacob from the NBA, the draft live stream when his brain short circuited?
No,
Because it's my favorite. I love rewatching the NBA draft live stream.
Is that the one where he's like, Chet's
Jacob
on
goes,
TV?
Chet's on TV. And you
I'll
know
have to
what
get
I'm
that.
looking
That's funny.
most forward to next season is seeing Chet on TV.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I think he's going to prove this pick right We haven't seen it yet, other than summer league and like off-season stuff. But there's no reason to move away from him here at 2, despite the fact that he didn't play in the NBA this past season. I think next year is going to make this look like a great pick.
I love it. Nick Crane and the Houston Rockets. Is that right? Yeah, Houston
Gross
is next up. Are on the clock. And fellas, it looks like the pick is in. The third pick in the uncontested redraft, the Houston Rockets select Jalen Williams of Santa Clara.
Yeah.
I think that's the right pick.
I personally felt whoever Justin didn't take between Chet and Dub was the no-brainer at 3, which is why I said I have the easiest job. This is a cool like alternate reality. What do they call it in Marvel? Like a multi. What is that?
Play
the sounder. Play the sounder.
A very specific term for it, actually, Nick.
Let's hear it.
In the multiverse.
That's what it is. QJ for that one. This is one of those weird deals where Dub is like the most loved player in Oklahoma City, but in this alternate reality, he's probably hated by Oklahoma City because Chet misses the entire year and Jalen Williams balls out in Houston, and they probably look really good this year. And I don't think they're like a play-in team, but they probably look like they're making that leap, and they still have a chance at a number 1 pick. So glad it didn't happen.
Indeed.
But I think he's a no-brainer. Like tomorrow, whenever tomorrow this rookie, all rookie teams, I think, or is it Wednesday? Regardless, this week when it's announced, he will be 100% first team all rookie after finishing second in rookie of the year voting. Ben Matherin had the hot start. You know, Kessler had a great kind of middle of the season defensively, started coming off or getting off, but going off.
Easy.
But I think Jalen Williams, like positional size, fits the modern NBA. Like, I don't know how you couldn't take him 3 based on what we've seen thus far.
I like it.
Would we all hate J-Dub if he was a Rocket?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
He's so likable. Come on.
In Houston, though,
you're right. If I'd see him take one picture with Kevin Porter Jr. and I'm done.
When at Rockets stud 6'3", 142 is talking about how Chet's a bust and they should have taken J-Dub at 2.
Yeah, you already sold me, actually.
Yeah,
correct.
All right. Well, the Kings are on the clock at 4.
Let's get spicy.
And in the uncontested redraft, Sacramento Kings at pick 4 select Shaedon Sharpe, who never played college basketball.
What?
So the easy thing to do here is to take one of Keegan Murray or Jaden Ivey. Obviously, they've been incredibly impactful for each of their teams. More so Ivey, I think, towards the latter part of the season when he kind of found his stride. And then Jabari Smith Jr., I'm still not completely out on him, believe it or not. But I'm very, very high on Shaedon Sharpe. I think amongst all those guys, he has the most superstar potential. Over his last 10 games, averaged 23.7 points, 6.1 rebounds, 4.1 assists on 57.4% true shooting. Some of that's garbage time. I get it. But I thought he really, really improved. And the flashes were some of the highest I saw of any of the rookies this year. I think there's arguments could be made that, especially the shot making ability and the scoring ability, even better than a player like J-Dub, although J-Dub's much more well-rounded. I really like Sharpe's upside. And for a team picking up pick number 4, I guess, like the Kings, I mean, they were a lot of fun this year. And I get it's hard to kind of be the Debbie Downer and say that they shouldn't have gone in and made the push for the playoffs after the fun year they had. But are they really that much closer to winning a championship? And I think Shaedon Sharpe is the guy of all these guys that could eventually get them there. So, yeah, thought I'd get a little spicy and change some things up.
I like it.
That's a swing.
It's a swing.
It looked more promising than I thought, I think, after the Blazers drafted them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it makes
he'll be
sense,
good. Really
right?
good.
It makes sense that through most of a season he'd get more comfortable, not just because that's what rookies do, but also if you're not going to play in college and you're going to do what Shaedon did, it would make sense that, you know, he's getting his sea legs back a little bit. It'll be really interesting to see what he looks like next year.
And
as the
which direction
primary
does Portland
option in
pivot?
Portland
It-
with no
that's what I
Damian
was
Lillard.
gonna say.
Now we're
That's-
talking.
especially seeing what Portland's roster looks
The
like.
co-pilot
next year.
alongside Wemby, you know,
Yeah,
Can you,
right.
can you imagine if Shaden Sharp played with one of the Thompson twins next year?
that would be fun.
It'd be
Right?
insane.
They would be
Ooh.
like there would be
That's a lot
so
of
many
wings, man.
Sports Center top 10 dunks. It would be bonkers.
Yeah.
They would just play in transition the entire game.
Like,
How
if I
far
was a
can
Portland fan and I'm sitting there at pick 4 and Amin Thompson's there, I'm thinking maybe it is time for Dame to. Well, let's get a massive package. We've seen every superstar that's been traded. The team that trades them away gets the better end of the bargain every single time. Let's do
Trade
it.
Dame, go get Bridges and some picks from Brooklyn,
Jeez.
and let's just have all the length. And,
Yeah.
with our
Hey,
big package.
there's a 17% chance that this year Portland slides to 7th in the draft. If they did and Houston was 2 and Houston called and said give us 7 and Dame for 2.
Oh,
Ooh-wee.
Damon Harden in Houston.
To move up 5 spots? No.
there'd have to
Dame.
be more in that
No.
deal.
It's Dame.
I mean, maybe if it
That's
was like
interesting.
maybe it would have to be like 2 and some stuff for Dame. You're not getting Dame and 7 to move up to 2.
Who knows? All right,
All right,
pick
Adam
number
Silver.
5, the Detroit Pistons, and the pick is in. The 5th pick in the uncontested redraft, the Pistons are selecting Jaden Ivey. Surprised
Yeah,
they didn't go
Sounds
center
familiar.
here.
Yeah, we thought about another center. We get a 7th one on the roster, but maybe next year. No, I heavily thought about a few names here, but for fit reasons, for long-term potential reasons, I still think Jaden Ivey is the right pick. He got better and better as the season went on. We talked a lot about how J-Dub getting a bunch of on-ball reps this year is going to be good for him moving forward. I think with Cade being out and Ivy getting a ton of on-ball reps, like all of them this year, that'll be good for him moving forward as well. So yeah, that's the pick. I think it's fun to have a dynamic backcourt like that.
It's almost like it's like that. That's such a good pick. I can almost like picture him playing in Detroit. Like I can almost vividly see what that would look like.
Fun fact: did you know his mom played there?
Wow.
It's like it was meant to be.
All right, moving on. The Indiana Pacers are on the board, and the pick is in. With the 6th, are we at 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the 6th pick in the uncontested redraft, the Indiana Pacers are selecting Keegan Murray out of Iowa.
I like that fit.
Can I
That's fun.
file this as my formal Keegan Murray apology statement? You were talking about it last week, I think, Nick. Like when you crapped all over Tyler Hero, I feel like that was Keegan Murray. This last pre-draft process, it was like, I don't care who we get at the top as long as it's not Keegan Murray. What a pile of garbage. But he's awesome. He was great in Sacramento. I think he'd be great in Indiana. I think he'd be a lot of fun. Everything that he brought to Sacramento, I think would work on the Pacers just as well. I think he'd be a lot of fun for Indiana. And if Nick's fantasy came true with Keegan Murray and Wembanyama in Indiana, that'd be a nice combo as well.
Very much so. All right, before we move on to pick 7, we got to take a quick break. Maybe we'll run a Taco Bell ad. Nikola Jokic will get drafted during it. We'll do pick 7 on the other side of this break. And we are back with pick number 7. That would be, I got to get my draft thing pulled back up. The Portland Trailblazers on the clock, and the pick is in. With the 7th pick, Trailblazers with GM Nick Crane are taking Jabari Smith Jr.
Yes. I do not expect him to be a first or second team all rookie selection. It would be sugarcoating it to say he had a good rookie season. Like he was pretty disappointing for the majority of the season. He actually did look much better late, like most rookies do. But But I think when you do a redraft, it's not about we're not drafting who are the best rookies in year one. We're still drafting for the future too, just having that 1 year of data to make our decisions. I still am pretty high on him. I think if the Rockets do push the button and move forward this summer and get some real guys around him, like he came in as this 6'10" knockdown shooter that can also play defense. Like if you just get some really good guards that will actually pass the ball and set him up the right way, he could have a really, really good second year and moving forward. So for me, a guy that I had number 1 on my board doesn't look great right now, but if you would have told me a year ago, hey, in a redraft a year from now, you can get Jabari at 7, I would have said, yes, please.
And being in Portland versus Houston probably
Yeah.
plays a big role on that perception.
Totally.
If he had been drafted to OKC, do you think we're still having that conversation, like the negative one?
No.
I don't think so either.
It probably looks a lot different,
They
right?
drafted him 3rd overall and just never highlighted him.
Like if Isaiah Joe could be a knockdown shooter in this system, so could Jabari.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the knock on Jabari all the college season was he needs good guards
Can't
that
self-create.
play smart and get him the ball. And then he went to the team with Kevin Porter Jr.
You hate Kevin Porter Jr. You hate KPJ or Rudy Gobert? Who do you hate more?
Oh, Rudy.
Who would you rather have on the Thunder next season?
KPJ or Rudy?
Yeah.
KPJ.
Wow.
As much as I hate Rudy Gobert, at least KPJ would never have a reason to get on the court in Oklahoma City.
Touche.
All right. Pick number 8 is up. The New Orleans Pelicans. And the pick is in. And with the 8th pick, the Pelicans select Jeremy Sohan from Baylor University.
I think, again, okay, I'm obviously not one to know how to pronounce players' names. I continue to hear both of Sohan and Sohan. I've always have said Sohan, so it's probably wrong. So we'll go with Sohan here.
It's better than Sochin, like you call them. I'm just kidding.
Jeremy Sohan. I think he really, just because he played for the Spurs, quite honestly, had a really underrated season. He kind of went under the radar a bit. What was it? Average 11 games while grabbing 5.3 rebounds. Super versatile and explosive. Like, I didn't realize he was that explosive. I don't think watching him at Baylor. Really good defender. I shouldn't say really good, but he's improving as a defender. Has the length to be the tools to be a really good defender. Can guard 1 through 5. And I think about that New Orleans team and what they're missing. I mean, they were like an OG Anunoby candidate, right? And like, isn't that just kind of like a young OG type player? I know Dyson Daniels has promise and upside, but I think Sohan can do all those things at a higher level. The big thing for him is, can the shot come along, right? And it didn't, but at times it didn't matter this season because he was still able to get to the rim and score. So I'm curious to see his development long term, but I think he's a really good fit for this New Orleans team.
I like it. I think it's a kind of a fascinating fit. They got a lot of guys that can play that forward spot. Probably would have played Sohan a lot at a small ball five.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be interesting. All right. Our next pick is up. That would be the San Antonio Spurs at 9 with JD as the GM, and the pick is in. The Spurs at 9 in the uncontested redraft will select Benedict Mathurin.
There it is.
Yeah,
Son of a gun.
It was like he really fell in this, but he's a really exciting player. Got to the line a ton for a rookie, which I think will translate well moving forward. Really physical wing. They already have a couple of those guys on the Spurs, but I feel like, hey, why not add another? Can never have enough good wings. Can definitely add the scoring punch they need there. A knock on him is like the playmaking, the passing vision, not just getting his own shot. And I think under Pop in the Spurs system, I think they could maybe iron that out, help him out there. I think Mathurin's the pick.
The person drafting after you, I hate you right now. I was hoping Mathurin would fall to us.
Yep.
No, I think that's the right pick as well. I think that dude's a bucket, and there's a lot of teams in this range that could use a bucket.
I agree with that.
Very
It
athletic
was,
too.
It was discouraging to me to see that 3-point percentage fall as much as it did the latter half even of the season. 32.3%. See if I don't know if I have attempts here on this page. Regardless, it wasn't great. He kind of fell off after a really strong start to the season, but we know that's there. We know that's in him. I'm curious to see what kind of role he has for that Sixers team. Is it a 6-man role next season? Does he get moved back into the starting lineup? What does that look like alongside a guy like Halliburton?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I think Matherin is still this like fun name that is easy to say like was a really, really good rookie, but outside of those first like 6 weeks, I don't know how good he actually was the rest. Like from an efficiency standpoint, like he obviously is extremely talented, but the same criticism that we like to give Jalen Green for being kind of ball hoggish at times and taking bad shots and being inefficient, and that's kind of what Ben Matherin was.
It's fair.
It's fair.
All right. Pick 11 is up. And the pick is in. At 11 in the uncontested redraft, the Washington Wizards select Walker Kessler.
No disrespect to Tingus Pingus, but Walker Kessler is the pick here. Is it a sexy pick? Not really, but I mean, you can't deny the rookie season that he had. He was great. Second in the NBA in block percentage. He got somehow a couple, what was it, 1 or 2 first place rookie of the year votes?
Two.
Too many.
Finished
But
third.
still a testament to the season that he put together. And I think the Wizards are not in a place where they're going to be picky. They need to be taking best available. And I think given what's on the board, I think that's Walker Kessler.
There are probably a lot of people that would argue we could have even taken him earlier.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He's good.
I considered him for New Orleans at 8.
The Wizards were 21st in the league in defensive efficiency this year. A guy like Walker Kessler probably could have helped.
He helps. Yep.
Probably could have helped.
Mm-hmm.
They probably wouldn't have played him though.
All right. At pick 11, there's been a trade. The Knicks
Whoa.
are sending this pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Almost as exciting as when it happened on Real Draft Night.
And the pick is in.
That was chaos.
Oh, that's the wrong sounder.
What was that?
Come on.
The Oklahoma City Thunder select Tari Eason.
Yay.
I was
don't hate
between Tari and another center who might get drafted shortly. I think he's a guy that got a bad rap because he came into the draft as like this older prospect, and generally lottery guys are not like 21, 22-year-olds, although J-Dub was in the same bucket.
Yep.
Just makes winning plays. Like if you watched the Rockets last year at all and all their dysfunction, there was one guy that was consistently doing things where you're like, that guy is actually a good basketball player and does the right things at the right time and always plays with a high motor and is good defensively and crashes the boards, and 3-point shots, not great yet, but if he develops 3-point shot, the dude could be really, really good. This is kind of a floor pick for me after getting Chet. If I was Oklahoma City with pick 2, I think this is a guy that, I mean, I don't think anybody on this pod would argue against Tari Eason being a hell of a time in Oklahoma City.
Did the Thunder just draft their future front court
Yeah.
at 2 and 11? Is that how you feel?
Basically.
I mean, that is like Chet is the ultra lengthy rim protector. Tari is like the high motor, super physical guy that'd be perfect next to him. Like, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's an interesting one. I don't know.
Sorry for Tari or something.
Like think about it this way. If we all have said at one time or another on this, whether it's this pod or a previous pod, that Jabari would be a lot better if he was not in Houston. Now imagine Tari, who actually had a good season, if he was in not Houston.
Jacob, I feel like you're not buying it. Why?
I mean, Tari's fine. I think the quote that we used at Summer League frequently was "bat out of hell."
Yep.
Plays like his hair's on fire. I mean, when it comes down to the dog and do we got it in him?
Multiple.
Tari like checks the list, right? He's like, the dog pound. He's got a few.
Tari
of them
got
in
more
him.
dogs in him than Kami are.
Yes, probably so. I mean, I understand the logic of the fit as far as next to Chet and just being a guy that's going to like be super physical and gobble up rebounds and be very switchable and all that kind of stuff. The high IQ feel type of end of the thing, like I don't know if that fits necessarily.
So you're more concerned about the fit with the Thunder, not that he went in the lottery.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you start him and you start Dort, you shrink the court like considerably. And
True.
Giddey, like there's not a lot of shooting out there, so it's kind of interesting. Maybe the Thunder will try to address some of these issues because they're on the clock again at 12, and the pick is in. After the 11th pick, the Thunder fired their GM and hired a new one, which is Taylor Peterson. And with the 12th pick, the Thunder are taking Christian Brown out of Kansas.
So this one, a little bit of recency bias for me watching the playoffs. Also, there's a lot of Thunder bias because if I'm being honest with myself, if I'm actually Sam Presti, and like I'm picking for the same reason that Sam, or I'm choosing this player for the same reasons that Sam took him in the real draft, I'm probably still going Jane because I think that upside is tremendous. But that's not the purpose of this exercise. That's really boring. But Christian Brown's been really interesting, especially as a defender. That is not what I was expecting. But for Denver, he's been really, really good for them in the playoffs. He's cracked that rotation, that playoff rotation. And I was listening to a podcast this weekend where they had, what's his name? Works for DNVR. Come on, basically discuss the playoff series. Said that Christian Brown might be their best one-on-one defender. Just being able to use that length and stay in front of guys. So anyways, that combined with the promising shooting wasn't necessarily incredible, I think, this season, but it was really good at Kansas. For all those reasons, I kind of like his fit. I think of like Isaiah Joe around Shea and Dub and Giddey. More shooters needed on this team that can also do other things with the ball, and Christian Brown checks all those boxes.
It's an interesting one. He is good. Like I do like him a lot. I think
like
he's
during that clogs the front court. Like Baji's kind of interesting. AJ Griffin can shoot. But you know, it's kind of pick your poison at this point of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Nick is saying a lot, but he's muted.
Uh-oh.
It's a problem. If we had done this draft pre-playoffs, would you have made this pick?
No, I don't think so. That's why I have my disclaimer.
No. I think it's a good thing to point out. Like, if you're going to draft a guy, you want a guy that can impact the game in the playoffs when it matters.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to. You'd rather have a guy that is a 7th, 8th man in the regular season, doesn't really move the needle that much, but in the playoffs, like, he's a guy. Like the rotation shrinks and he's a guy. As a rookie, with what Christian's doing right now, like I think his stock has gone way up because you can see what he could do in the playoffs. That's a huge thing.
True.
So I agree with you. Like the playoffs, although there's probably recency bias to this pick, it's for good reason because he's proven it.
True. But yeah, like if we got to see, I don't know. I mean, shoot, if we got to see Dub in the playoffs or even Oos in the playoffs, like say Oos gets some minutes and has a decent stretch, I don't know. But we might be talking about a player like Dub even higher. Well, I guess he ended up going 3. I don't think there's as much of an argument to be made for going a guy like Keegan or something there. I don't know.
All right, we are on to pick 13, which is owned by the Charlotte Hornets, but gets traded to Detroit. JD, are you drafting for Charlotte or Detroit here?
Charlotte.
Okay. With the 13th pick in the uncontested redraft, the Charlotte Hornets can't figure out what the hell to do because they've DM'd me like 7 times. And they have
like the real Charlotte Hornets.
They have scribbled out every name on their draft card, and in the bottom corner where there's still a little bit of space left, they wrote Jalen Duren.
He's awesome. He's a man.
I
I thought you
almost
were
took
doing-
him at 11. He's
Yeah.
good.
Was he the youngest guy in the draft? One of the
Yes.
Yeah, and he was like just a grown man, awesome, brings a toughness that I feel like they need in Charlotte, brings a work ethic I think they need in Charlotte. Just awesome, reliable guy that can, I think, move out on the perimeter, not just play drop defense as a center, which is very valuable right now. So that is the pick for me.
In the year 2000, he goes top 5 without a question.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's perfect for that era.
He's
Yep.
like Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it. Derek Parker. Well, shout out to Derek Parker. Nick works with him over at Draft Digest. If our listeners haven't yet, put Derek Parker's YouTube videos. What it calls them, the Heat Check series, I believe, where he's breaking down 2023 draft prospects. Put it in your rotation.
Yep.
Like I have Adam Spinella, I have Keonjay, and now I have Derek Parker in my rotation of dudes who know what the hell they're talking about and that I really respect their opinions on draft guys. Derek Parker this week on Twitter posted the highlights of Chet versus Duran in that March Madness game. We didn't know what the lottery order was at that time when that game happened. And I remember tuning in and just desperately wanting Chet to play good because he was my guy. And then the very first possession, I think Duran tried to like put him under the rim and Chet just blocked his shit to infinity and beyond. And I was like, that's my guy right there, Chet. But no, Duran's awesome. Duran is built like a Greek god. He's just ripped. He's huge. Yeah, he's impressive.
He's James Najee a year early.
Speaking of dudes that are ripped, not to get us off topic, but I believe it was Nick that posted this on the uncontested Twitter.
Oh,
Those pictures of
Scoot is a
Scoot,
freak athlete.
good God.
dude has like -2% body fat.
Looks like an NFL player.
He's like a 10-pack, and then he has like abs and his obliques too. It's the
I didn't know you had muscles in those
yeah,
places.
it's crazy.
that's because you don't.
I mean, he is insane. It's he would pass the Miami Heat fit test.
Yeah,
Yes, he was.
I feel pretty confident about that. All right. Pick 14 belongs to the Atlanta Hawks, and the pick is in. With the final pick in the lottery, the Atlanta Hawks will select AJ Griffin out of Duke.
Destiny.
I'm working on a jersey swap right now. No, I mean, there's nothing else to say. I think it's a great fit. I think it's a great spot for him. Fits in well. Do it again.
It's a good pick.
So who outside of the 14 guys that just gotten taken? I don't want to continue to go all the way down, and we're not.
Wait, sorry, real quick before I messed up. I said Atlanta. That was actually Cleveland's pick.
Yes.
What? Hang on.
Yes.
Well, that just ruined my life.
And he would have went to Utah in the Donovan Mitchell trade.
Yep.
Can you please keep the document organized?
Would that really change your opinion though?
No, it just changes all my talking points. Makes me feel stupid. Yeah, he's in Cleveland. Great fit. He did great things in Atlanta. Would love to see him in Cleveland. Or you not have a jersey swap ready.
So guys that went in the lottery that dropped out of our redraft would be Dyson Daniels, Johnny Davis, Usman Jang, and Ochai Agbaji.
Feels fair across the board.
Which leans back into what I was going to ask. The guys that would be like, if you were pick 15, the Charlotte Hornets, the guys that are on your short list, I think Dyson Daniels is absolutely on the short list there.
Yeah.
I almost picked him at.
I don't
13.
think Oos and Johnny would be, but like, who are the other guys that in a redraft do you think would be on the short list for 15?
You mentioned Dyson. I think Ochai Agbaji is going to be like a solid role player. I like Ochai quite a bit. So I'd maybe have him on a short list there. One guy that we never even mentioned. What about Andrew Nemhard?
That's exactly
That's one I kept thinking about, but like it just never felt like a good fit when I was picking.
Jaden Hardy?
That was
Jaden
Hardy.
Hardy.
right before I say it. I think if what he did in Dallas in tiny little spurts of minutes in games that actually mattered most of the time, I just think about like, man, what if that guy was in Charlotte where he could have taken 15 shots a game almost every night? Like he might have, like we might be talking about him at pick 10 or 11 in this redraft.
Could be.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Any other guys?
Roddy gave some minutes for the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs.
The Memphis
Mark
Hustle.
Williams was pretty good.
Memphis Hustle. Yeah, true.
Kenny
Malachi
Lofton
Branham?
Jr.?
Still
Not on the
believe my
short
guy,
list of
Dalen Terry.
15, maybe a short list in late first round, but for him to be a late first round consideration a year into his NBA career is pretty bonkers.
Does Johnny Davis fall out of the first entirely?
No,
More like
You sure about that?
positive.
I'd put him late
We're
first.
taking a guy that has been really, really good for a long time, that sample size, versus 1 year with Washington, who we all have already talked about being a team that you don't trust.
guards
him
can
late,
take some time to pan out.
For sure. But I mean, again, it's summer league. But every time I've watched Johnny Davis play basketball at a level above college, he just looks way in over his head. And maybe
So,
that changes.
Steven,
It definitely can. I just
Let me
he didn't
ask
do
you a
much
question.
since he got drafted besides that Taco Bell commercial that
So-
has like given me hope.
If you got a phone call tomorrow and it said you have to take one of these two players for free, Johnny Davis, James Bouknight.
God damn.
Johnny Davis.
Ugh.
I think Johnny for the 2A upside, because that dude is a
Mhm.
good defender. Like
Yeah,
True.
I probably agree with you.
he's
Also off court stuff with Bouknight. Like
yeah. Well, like Johnny Davis, like Jalen Suggs also hasn't been great, but he's a guy that's like very, very similar to Jalen Suggs from an archetype
I'd still
standpoint.
take Jalen Suggs if you offered him to me.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That wasn't the
I
question,
still like
buddy.
Suggs too.
I know. I'd probably go Johnny Davis just because James Bouknight. I don't know. If you took Bouknight, we could reprint
Bouknight's
the
had longer
shirts.
to do it too on a team that's like not been good.
That's fair.
I'm going through this list of like there are guys I still really like that I think showed some flashes that like you said, Nick, if they're in the right development system, they could be good players. Like Blake Wesley with the Spurs is fascinating. Caleb Houston with Orlando is really
Branham with the Spurs.
interesting.
How far does
Um,
Oos fall?
Chris Sheet, Kennedy Chandler. Oh, Oos. Ugh. I mean, again, like there's a lot.
I don't
of
think he
guys
gets
who-
past the teens.
right because there's a lot of teams. A lot.
Still top
Cleveland
20.
liked him. Atlanta liked him. I think. Just a lot of
Goes-
upside there.
He goes early 20s, late teens.
I could see late teens, like
Yeah.
18 to Chicago, 19 Minnesota, 20. He doesn't get past San Antonio at 20. I don't think.
Minnesota's interesting.
Does Jay Will go first round?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Ooh,
maybe.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
I think he probably
I could
does.
see him late.
Like last couple picks,
Mhm.
27, 30 range. It's a good
It's
one.
interesting.
So if Presti ended up with 4 potential
4 first rounders.
first round guys in this draft, like it's crazy to think about 5 years from now if we're looking back on this draft.
4 potential first rounders and 2 in the top 3.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Crazy.
I mean,
And
and
3
there's
different
nothing-
GMs. in
There's
our
nothing to
mock
say.
draft.
Jeez. That's a big factor. There's there's obviously still no reason to think that Chet still couldn't be the best player in this class.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Dude, I can't,
That's
can't
insane.
wait.
Ugh,
I
can't either.
can't wait.
Yeah.
I've been thinking so much about that recently. Like, so easy just evaluating this team and how they played this past season. But Chet's coming back next year. Crazy.
Can't.
You know the meme that's like
Like,
he's
does this
thinking
draft
about
even
other
really matter?
girls, and then it's like what he's actually thinking about. That's everyone, but with Chet.
But with Chet.
Like Chet would be a top 5 pick in this 2023 class too.
Oh, I think like top 3.
I think Sam Vecini said if Chet came straight out of high school in 2021, he would have been like
Had him
top
one.
3 or top 4. And that was the draft that had Cade and Mobley and
Mhm.
You're
Scotty.
right,
and-
sorry. I lied. He didn't say that. Yeah, that he would go top 5.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I can't wait. Can't wait. All right, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we will go around the association. All right. Hey, good news for the listeners. JD is on the Sunday show, which means we don't have to have Tayler do the sounder.
Thank goodness.
I've been
I don't
practicing
even know
though.
what you said, man.
All right, gentlemen. I actually haven't looked at scores tonight. The Suns only won by 5. That's
Yep.
surprising. Jokic had 53?
Yeah.
Good
had,
God.
Shabby.
He had 47 before we started the pod.
Jeez.
Insane.
53 and they lost.
It sucks.
The man
Booker
can't
didn't
jump
score
over a phone
again.
book.
20 of 30 from the field.
That's
Point
crazy.
shot, 4 3-pointers. That's
You know what
wild.
that tells me? 2 things. And the first segment of Around the Association is some playoff takeaways. We now have Suns, Nuggets at 2-2. Philly, Boston at 2-2 after an insane game today. Dubs, Lakers, 2-1 Lakers with a game 4, I believe, tomorrow night. Heat, Knicks, 2-1 in favor of the Heat. And I believe that game 4 is tomorrow night. I think we got 2 games tomorrow.
Yep.
So very competitive second round so far. So the question is, what are takeaways from the second round of the playoffs? 2 things for me on that Jokic line. Number 1, Jokic is awesome. Like awesome, like insane. I love Nikola Jokic. I love that the back-to-back NBA MVP, and the NBA is arguably one of the most athletic sports leagues in the entire world. Like the NFL has some athletes, some of them like aren't super athletic, like some of the quarterbacks and stuff. You've got to be athletic to play in the league. And Nikola Jokic is a 2-time MVP. I always think back to the 8-year-old Jokic, fat as hell with no t-shirt, drinking a 3-liter of Coca-Cola. It's beautiful.
Big mood.
It also tells me, and a little less about this game and just more overall, Suns are going to really regret that DeAndre Ayton contract.
Oh, yeah.
That max.
Yeah, they are.
I think if they could go back in time and just do the sign and trade Ayton for Miles Bridges, you pull the trigger.
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner.
Ayton
Yes, not
had
Miles Bridges.
8
Sorry.
points, 8 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the floor in 27 minutes.
They benched him
Oof.
at the end of the third game.
They're playing Jock Landale more than
Yeah.
he's getting now. Like
Insane.
Oof.
if they could go back and get Turner, I think they do it in a heartbeat.
Did you see Jokic
Yeah.
like lightly push Matt Ishbia and then he like flopped?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Justin could dress up like Doc Landale and make it into the stadium like that Steph Curry or the Klay Thompson impersonator.
That's funny.
Yes.
My biggest takeaway, I'm going to combine this segment with our first segment, is that we shouldn't give up on or get too high on players early in their career, because this playoffs more than any has shown that some guys take a little bit to get going, and also if you don't get a top 5 pick, that's okay, because we've seen the Jalen Brunsons, the Josh Harts, the Nikola Jokic's, just go down the list of like the Grant Williams. Like there's so many guys that are making huge, I'm not talking like playing role player stuff, like huge impacts that were not big time draft picks. And so late round and second rounders, undrafted free agents, like those kind of guys genuinely do matter in the long term.
I like Grant Williams a lot.
He got curb stomped.
He did.
He did.
By a dude that's like
awful.
280.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think my
And then he
head
got
would've
up and was very
disintegrated.
kind about it afterwards.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Go fight Embiid?
Just
Well,
kick him in the
he'll
knees.
probably flop as soon as you hit him. So
The said 280 guy that just stomped on your head, you're going to go approach him and ask for another?
Ugh.
Hello, sir. May I have another?
All you gotta do is just kick him in the kneecap.
You know who else is having? It doesn't kind of fall under Nick's category of like late pick, but a guy that people were kind of like ragging on and saying like he didn't deserve where he got drafted, who's having a really good playoffs. RJ Barrett.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Barrett's been really good. He's a guy that I liked for Oklahoma City as like a possible trade candidate. Don't think that's happening now, but
Not so much.
he's been good.
He's been solid.
James Harden's having a moment, kind of.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Exercising
his-
some demons.
Him
I
and
thought his
Anthony
recent
Davis.
quotes were interesting about like not dominating the ball, not doing it all every night, like during the regular season, and how he felt like it was kind of like a you can't win situation. Like when I don't dominate the ball, everybody says I'm washed.
Yeah.
I think he's showing that he can turn it on a little bit still.
He
Their
definitely
offense late in the game today though was ugly.
very
Like
ugly.
that. It was like dribble, screen and roll. The guy pops back out, dribble. Oh shit! There's 4 seconds left. We got to do something. It
Horford
was-
totally locked up Embiid, like blocked him 3 times in the last few minutes.
I don't think post Brooklyn injury, I don't think Harden still has that same. I mean, he's never been a super explosive athlete, but doesn't have the same burst necessarily to get by or the strength to get by defenders. But what we're seeing now is he's still able to get to those spots, and that shooting has just been insane. Being able to like spot up and be a catch and shoot player like he's able to with Embiid. I mean, that's what got them the game winner earlier today.
Yeah.
That's huge for Philadelphia. But like I keep thinking about Harden and AD in the same, kind of the same categories. Like they can turn it on one game and just be the reason their team wins, literally. Be the guy for their team, and the next game just completely disappear. There's just no consistency right now with those two.
That's fair. Anthony Davis is every other day.
Yeah.
And if you look at the stat sheets, it's literally every other game.
It's crazy.
Speaking of the Lakers, another takeaway from the second round. Watching that Lakers Warriors game last night, when he puts his foot down, I mean, LeBron can have some still 20 years in the league, some holy shit moments.
Yeah.
That stretch where he ran down and tipped the ball out of bounds on the fast break and hurdled the first row and ran up to about row 20. And then he came back in and he blocked a Jordan Poole shot with his armpit, then had that fast break spinning layup. It was one of those moments where you literally saw a guy just put the car in the next gear and just leave everyone else behind. It was definitely a Dominic Toretto moment where he just hits the nos and just leaves everyone in the dust. It was,
And it's unreal that he can still do that.
dude, he's been in the league 20 years.
Crazy.
That's older than Silva.
It's crazy.
My
Not
God.
really.
We had a comment in the chat. Jimmy Butler, also great. The 30th
Yes.
pick.
He's
Last,
awesome.
So good.
going back to last round, like Desmond Bain, the 30th pick. So going back to my original point, like the Thunder not having a top 5 pick this year, likely, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It comes down to talent evaluation, which
Yep.
you feel pretty good about if you're a
Yep.
Thunder fan. And I think
100%.
that obviously the odds are better up top, but I think what you're saying, Nick, is that it's showing the value of you got to build out the rest of your roster the right way. It can't just be top heavy. And I think the teams that are succeeding this playoffs are ones that have a very kind of well-rounded, deep roster.
Yeah. It's like Detroit, like they didn't draft all these guys, but I think Jacob did the analysis early in the season on like their starting lineup has like 4 top 8 picks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it goes to show like doesn't actually mean that you're going to be really good. Like you could be given a top 10 pick every year for 5, 6, 7 years, and it
Washington.
doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And Justin, you mentioned talent evaluation, like, and Nick, if you disagree, but like, especially in this draft where it felt so strong here a year ago, and it doesn't mean that's not going to be strong. I don't mean it like that. I think it is still a very strong draft. There's a lot of strengths, a lot of players that I think will be really impactful for their teams, but very wide consensus across the board. And that's where a organization like the Thunder and an evaluator like Sam Presti really can thrive.
He's going to take. We could all sit here and say like, name your favorite 15 players for the Thunder, And there's a really good chance that Presti does not take one of those 15 guys.
Yeah.
A very good chance.
You know?
Well, speaking of great players, we mentioned earlier Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP, and then this year, Joel Embiid finally breaks through, gets his MVP. Top 3 in MVP voting were a guy from Africa and 2 guys originally from Europe. So Silva broached the question. I know this has been a popular one on social media, on the NBA sphere. Who will be the next MVP from this continent?
Ooh.
I think the obvious choice is probably Jason Tatum. I think there are several like archetypes of an MVP winner. You see your like James Hardens, where you are like you are the offense, you have insane stats, you win. Sometimes you have like the best player in the world, like a generational talent, Steph Curry, LeBron, that type of guy, a Giannis, an Embiid, a Jokic even. And then you have a third category, which is best player, best team. And I think if he's going to win it, it's going to be that. I don't think...
That's a good argument.
I love Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have a scale of Paul George to Kevin Durant. I think he leads more towards the Paul George side of things. I don't know if that's unfair to say, but I feel like that's kind of where he's going to end up. He's awesome. Really, really awesome, but I don't know if I'd like bet on him winning an MVP in general, but I think if he does win one.
Who's the short list? Like, who's the 5? If you had to choose 5 North American born players, and one of the 5 you would say was going to be the next North American MVP, who's the list of 5? I think we all agreed Tatum goes on it.
I think that you
Anthony
gotta
Edwards was the
add
other name I was thinking.
Gotta add repeats. I know it sounds absurd, but like LeBron and Steph could do it. Like if the Lakers or the Warriors are a top 2 seed in the West next year, they will be on the list.
True.
That's exact. I was going to say LeBron, Steph, and KD. I'd put all 3 of them in that space of like, yeah, they're older, but totally.
What if
when the Phoenix
even Book?
Yeah,
I was going to say, what if we change the rules here and say who's the next North American MVP who hasn't won one yet?
Well, obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Obviously,
he's on the list.
I think Jason Tatum. I think Book. I think Ant. I think SGA does legitimately belong on the list now after this season.
Agreed.
Who would be the 5th? Do you guys agree with those 4?
Yeah.
Who's the 5th?
Who haven't won one
It would
yet.
take some. It
we're
sucks
gonna
that
miss somebody.
politics are so real, but like John Morant, if he cleans up his image a bit and becomes a favorable player again, could
That's a
easily
good
see
one.
that.
I think Paulo's worth mentioning, since he was rookie of the year candidate.
Scoot.
Chet.
I don't want to be
Scoot on
this
the
guy,
list.
but like, if he can stay healthy, which is so far no, but when he's on the court, Zion is ridiculous, dude.
That's a good pick.
A good answer. Oh, that's a really tough question. There's a lot of talent in this league.
It's hard to win. It's just hard to like win MVP. Like a guy like Tatum, I could see him getting top five, like indefinitely. But
the Wednesday night show, Nick and Jacob, you guys were saying what's the percentage chance that SGA ever wins an MVP? And you said like 5 to 10%. And there's people in the comments that were like, "That's so low." But
it's
like,
really hard.
I feel like it's high.
That's a very
I feel like that's
very
high.
rare territory. That
Tatum
some of the
averaged
best
30,
players of all
4
time.
and 8, and he was like 4th or 5th.
Exactly.
So Nick and I also talked on Wednesday. What's more likely in like the next 10 years? Shea wins an MVP or the Thunder win a title? What do you guys think?
I think title is easier to do.
That's kind of how I feel too, especially the way that Presti's building out this team and the talent that they've already accumulated with just the plethora of assets that we've, it's beaten the same drum over and over. But for that reason, I think I have to agree, Nick.
It's like there's almost never a guy that wins MVP that wasn't a top 5 vote getter for like a few years in the past, where it's like they were 7th and then they were 3rd and then they were 2nd and they finally won it. It's almost always like this progression. So I don't see any of these guys that we haven't already discussed just like randomly break in and win it.
And it goes in waves too. Like Silva, you mentioned this. I think all 3 of you maybe mentioned this here during the segment, but you have the Tatums, the Embiids, the Jokic's, the Giannis's, kind of, during this stretch of MVP voting over the past couple of seasons. Before that, obviously, there was a 5 to 10 year period of LeBron, Steph, KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden.
Yeah.
So like for SGA, it may be a part of that next wave. SGA, Ant.
I'll give you a name.
Paulo, like
Damian Lillard if he's not on the Blazers.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
Oh, Luka.
Yeah.
I mean,
he would have the
recently
narrative for
Luka
sure.
Not North American.
I know. I just mean I'm just thinking in general now.
Yeah, we're naming all these guys, and you still in reality to win one, you have to break through these international guys. Wemby could enter the conversation like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's crazy. I agree on the title is more likely than an MVP.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's
better odds.
Insane to say out loud, but it's probably
better
true.
odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more guys have won rings than won MVPs.
Yep.
All right. Well, speaking of odds, before we get out of here, because I am the chief degenerate, I'm Captain Degenerate. We got to do a spin before we leave, boys.
Whoa.
We only got 9 days left.
You're a sicko.
We got to do a spin.
Doing a spin on Basketball Reference?
9 days.
Am I on Basketball Reference?
You sure are.
Oops. Let's not
Not
have
how that
Basketball
works.
Reference spin.
That's not how that works.
Let's get a Tankathon spin. While I'm getting it ready, everyone give me your prediction. Who's going to land number 1?
Spurs.
Detroit.
Charlotte.
Indiana.
Here we go.
Ooh,
Orlando.
Whoa.
Jumps. So does Utah. Utah jumps. So our top 4 are Orlando, San Antonio, Charlotte, and Utah.
I hate it.
The
God,
Rockets
Houston.
fall to 6.
Ooh. Thunder at
Thunder
12.
stay at 12. Before we get out of here, Sylvia, you can pump the outro music if you want to. The top 11 are Wemby, Scoot, Brandon Miller, Amen, Jarris Walker, Asar Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Anthony Black, Grady Dick, Taylor Hendricks, and Kaysen Wallace. If that's how it goes, who do you want the Thunder to take at 12? Real quick. This isn't quick. This is the opposite of quick.
Scroll down a little more.
Scroll.
You want
Give me
Ryan
Jet.
Repair? You
Jet.
want Derek Lively?
Jet. If you can't get Grady Dick,
I'll go-
get the guy that does the same things.
Whitehead's fun. Leonard Miller's fun. Cole Bally's really fun.
Jordan
I like one of the
Hawkins.
upside
Any Jordan
guys.
Hawkins here?
I'm going Leonard Miller, which has been the very popular pick on mock drafts recently for the Thunder.
And I'll do Cole Bally.
All right. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in Uncontested tonight. Hope you enjoyed the 2022 redraft. We may get our list up on social media later this week, so be on the lookout for that. Tell us where we messed up, where we did well. Actually, just tell us where we did well. Don't tell us where we messed up. I just need it for my ego, even though I made 0 of the picks. We will be back with you guys Wednesday nights. I forget what we're covering Wednesday nights, but we'll be here. And then next Sunday, we are going to do a Tankathon spin and more mock drafts because we are 9 days away from the draft lottery. We will talk to you guys then. Have a great beginning of your week. We'll see you soon. Until then, and as always, Thunder up!